If you're on the jury, you want to make sure that you see everything. Everything, right? And the fact that they wanted to keep this out, you know, as a law student, I was kind of looking like, word? Manera. It's me, AB. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Man, y'all got me working this week. I had another request for a law student reacts, and this is on a case that is barely getting coverage, but we've all kind of heard about in these YouTube streets. And you know what that case is? That is the case involving Courtney Clenney. And you may know her as the OnlyFans model that stabbed her boyfriend, allegedly, to death. Yeah, this one's a little heavy, but that's what we're talking about today. Trial is set to begin on this particular case in December. She was just recently arrested in August. What you're seeing in the news is pre-trial hearings, and these hearings took place this week. Here's the highlight of this particular pre-trial hearing. Ms. Clenney, the defendant in this case, tried to get a crucial piece of evidence, although it's a public record, not really sealed, but closed off from being introduced into evidence in this case, because it can kind of skew public perception. What is the piece of evidence, and is she successful in getting this thrown out? You're gonna have to stick with me to the end to see, because you know it's an important thing. You've seen it, trust me. You've had to see it. You've had to see it. So before we dive in, what are we gonna talk about? You guys know I always like to give you the facts, okay? I'm also gonna talk about the evidence, and then we're gonna talk about her argument. We're gonna see if the judge granted her motion. Who won? It's almost like a coin toss. Let's talk about Ms. Clenney, okay? So as I mentioned, this was really big in the news in April of 2022. Courtney Clenney was a OnlyFans model who just so happens to be a white woman, and she was dating a 26-year-old man, a black man, who was found murdered in their condo in Miami. Now, murdered is a strong statement because she is claiming self-defense. What I can tell you from what I've seen and the research that I've done so far, it looks like there is a history of domestic DA, if you know where I'm going with this, on both sides of their relationship. You know, there have been few police reports, there have been some arrests, so there is a history of that in this particular relationship. The other big thing too, and we'll talk about it in a second, there's a video floating around of these two in an altercation, right? It's an interesting altercation, very interesting altercation. So back in April, she was found, or they were found in the apartment. He was obviously passed away, and she was covered in blood, okay? Like, it's pretty gruesome. Like, there's pictures of the aftermath. She's sitting on the floor, and you know, you can just see her just covered in sangue. It's pretty gruesome. You're gonna go and find that. I've given you the warning because I was looking at it and I was just like, ooh, it's a little crazy. Anywho, here's the kicker about what happened with her, right? She was released, okay? She was released in April and then went to Hawaii. I guess she was getting some treatment for PTSD, and the family was actually outraged that she was not detained back in April. But she was, I believe they extradited her from Hawaii back to Miami and was arrested in August. Like, why did that take, you know? Who knows? I'm sure that there's a backstory behind that, but I just wanted to make sure that you guys knew the facts before we go out into these YouTube streets. Okay, so let's talk about the evidence, because as a law student that has been studying the law for the last 7 years, 3 in undergrad, 4 in law school, and learning about evidence and all of these things, these 2 pieces of evidence are crucial to the case, right? We are in a process before you go to trial called discovery, right? The discovery process is where both sides agree on what evidence is going to be introduced, but this is the time to examine that evidence, to build your case in preparation for trial. But we both sides must know what evidence is coming in, right? What evidence is gonna be introduced, because at the end of the day, nobody wants to be blindsided. We just, you know, nobody wants to be blindsided. Shout out to the people who noticed that these frames are not in balance or straightened. I'm gonna get to it, I promise. Sidebar. Back to this. What are the pieces of evidence that are at issue here? The first piece of evidence is a video that was released from the Miami Herald. What's the issue with the video? The video is a clip taken from an elevator surveillance. I believe it's in the apartment building that they were living in. And your girl Courtney was kind of beating up on homeboy, you know? It shows that she was the aggressor towards the beginning of it, and then towards the end he kind of, you know, was defending himself, but you can see that in the clip, okay? The Miami Herald released that, and that was through the DA's office, okay? So the defense is obviously having an issue with this video because it's all over social media. Everybody's already seen it. So if they pick a jury, it's almost impossible that that jury is not going to be, not have an opinion because that video is out there. It is out. So, you know, that's the difficult thing with these type of cases. But here's the other thing. Her phone is a big, not a problem, but the records in her phone. There are over 12,000 records in her phone. Things from the content from her OnlyFans, pictures, videos, text messages, phone calls, some things that are unrelated to this case at all could be made public, right? That is what the defense counsel is arguing here. Don't want it to unfairly impact the jury's perception, right? Granted, the jury has not been picked yet, okay? So there's still a long way to go, but they think that this would violate, and that's going to bring me into our argument. They think that absent the closure, so if we do not move this, it's gonna violate her Sixth Amendment right to a fair and impartial jury, which everyone, it's in the Constitution, is afforded, okay? Now, here's the argument on the other side. Everybody goes through a jury selection process. Every single case, or, you know, in a criminal case like this, where there's possible murder charges and then there's self-defense, the jury must remain impartial, a jury of your peers, and you want to make sure that people are not influenced by things that they see. With celebrity cases and high profile cases, it's a little crazy, right? You know, and we've seen this with other cases like the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp situation, right? It's almost impossible to keep certain things away from public view, but you can instruct the jury once the trial happens, like, hey, please do not check out social media, don't read up on this case, blah, 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 right? You can do that. You can do that. But the attorneys, and this is what the other side is arguing, the attorneys get an opportunity, and the court has an opportunity to inspect who's going to be on that jury panel, okay? It's not just a, hey, you know, like, do you know each other? Like, you have to make sure that there are no conflicts so that we can respect that Sixth Amendment right. So what ultimately happened, because here's my thing, if you're on the jury, you want to make sure that you see everything, right? And the fact that they wanted to keep this out, you know, as a law student, I was kind of looking like, word? She lost emotion. It's staying in. There's nothing they can do. You know, there was a test. I believe it was the Lewis case. I'm not going to get too much into the weeds for that. But when you bring emotion like that, the defense has to prove, hey, this is really, really going to hurt my client's case. There was a 3-pronged test, and the defense failed to prove otherwise, that it was going to be an undue burden or violate her Sixth Amendment right. So more to come on this. I just wanted to give you guys a quick reaction that they were trying to keep this video out, but it's pretty gruesome as far as like some of the pictures that are out there, and I'm going to be following this one a little bit closely because there's barely any coverage on it. So definitely stay tuned. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe if you like videos like this. I will continue to move more of them. Do me a favor though, slide in my DMs on Instagram only for the purpose of letting me know if there is a story you want me to cover. Sometimes I say hi. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.